You were at the Crossroads Shopping Center for why?
Well, I went there for a couple purposes. One, I went there to pick up my my monthly vitamins and a few other things, and then to buy a gift for my son's birthday that was going to be the next day.
Purely happenstance.
Yep.
Can you talk about at all the events that happened that night when you were first aware that something's just not right tonight at Crossroads?
When I went to the mall, I actually made 2 trips in the mall. I returned to my car to drop off my first purchase to go into the mall for my second. Okay. And I went through a common door, which is between Macy's and Target. And happened to, on my way out from Target after picking up the gift from my son, there was Bed Bath & Beyond had a temporary store in the corner there. Mm-hmm. And I saw my store manager in there, so I popped in, chat with her, see what she was doing.
Sure.
It reminded me that my daughter wanted some stuff from there, so I texted her, hey, what do you need and all this, and picked it up for her. And I was at the checkout counter actually getting ready to leave when I heard a really loud noise in the mall. And we talk about on Tactical Tuesday, and we talk about in a lot of our classes your situational awareness,
right? And
I knew that wasn't a noise you hear in the mall. I mean, it's not a typical noise. It was very loud. Actually, I thought it was a gunshot at first because it was so loud. And so I stepped out into the mall area, where the common area, and the doorway of the store, and didn't see anything. Thought, I don't know, something dropped, whatever.
Yeah.
So I went back to pay for my merchandise and heard it again. Something's not right here. I mean, this doesn't happen twice, And at this moment, that's where I could see, like, it was a mob of people coming down towards where we were.
Mm-hmm.
It's over by that Playland area,
right,
on the mall.
Lots of exits right there.
Yeah, and so I see a group of people coming down, and I see an individual in a security uniform behind them. And at first, I'm thinking, okay, well, he's obviously getting people out of here because something's happened. Mm-hmm. But as they're coming towards me, funny things pop into your mind, like, well, he doesn't look like the mall security. They wear those crazy Moni hats, and mm-hmm. And they're pretty religious about their appearance out there, and this guy doesn't have it. And by about that time, he's this individual's, I don't know, 6 feet from me. The group is spread from Macy's out the mall. He's kind of part of this, the group, mm-hmm. And that's when he approached me and asked me if I was a Muslim. And, he asked me in a way that wasn't like really a question, like, how's your day type of thing,
Right.
So I recognized that was something that was not normal.
Not a normal conversation.
Yeah, it wasn't a normal question. And I stepped back and I said, no. And he kind of looked at me, and I could see it in his eyes. He had what I described as crazy eyes. I mean, it looked like he had 2 golf balls plucked in his, in his forehead. It was, mm-hmm. He was, he was
big eyes.
Big eyes, yeah. And he kind of looked at me like, and he turned away from me. And that's when I could see that he had a knife in each hand, bladed up his forearm. And obviously, this is not normal.
Yeah, right.
And I knew at that point this wasn't a security guard at the mall, based on his dress and behavior and all that.
At this point, are you hearing other noise still behind you, to the side of you?
I'm not really hearing anything. I do know. I mean, I just from my shopping in that store, I knew that there was a couple families in there with strollers, and the store was pretty full. Mm-hmm. And but other than that, I didn't really recognize any other noise inside the mall. I just turned to my manager and I said, call the police, tell them off-duty officer is going to pursue this guy, give my description, and then get these people to the back. And then I took off after the individual.
Okay. At what point did you have to pursue him then into Macy's? Where did he go? What did he do?
Well, he took off towards the common area of the mall and turned towards Macy's, and then that's where, I gave chase to him too. I identified myself as a police officer, and off-duty police officer, and told him that, to stop.
As this is happening, is he continuing to walk away? Did he pick up his pace at all?
When he turned the corner to go into Macy's, when he picked up the pace, he started jogging. I think he realized that, when I announced I was a police officer, that he took off.
Is that pretty standard operating procedure for a law enforcement person to announce who they are, what they are, that sort of thing?
Well, I think, training tells you want to do that, especially in plain clothes, because, I'm pursuing an individual. Now I've gotten I have retrieved my gun, and I'm working on getting my badge out of my pocket. And, you know, I don't want this individual to, you know, if this was a legitimate security guard doing a legitimate job, you know, you'd have complied.
You know what to say to that person. If he is legit, he is going to respond to you in an appropriate manner.
Correct.
That did not happen.
No.
Okay. So how much time has elapsed from the time that you realized something is not right? You told your manager, hey, you better call 911. I got to get down here to take care of this.
Seconds.
Literally seconds. We talk all the time about situational awareness on Tactical Tuesday. We talk all the time about not having to think about where your gun is. In this case, you were looking for your badge. What else is going through your mind at this point? Because, again, these are all things that we talk about on Tactical Tuesday. You take it to the next level, Jason. You are a trained police officer, okay? I have to think that in the mind of any police officer, any law enforcement person, all of these things just start happening. You kind of go into an autopilot mode. You know exactly what you were supposed to do because of training. Correct?
I mean, training is what, you know, is what gets you to where you're at, and that's where it got me that day. Mm-hmm. You know, I didn't hesitate. You know, my feet moved. We got to go. Mm-hmm. You know, see what this is about.
At this point in the whole series of events, have these other people in the mall been stabbed?
Unbeknownst to me, yes.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, you didn't know this?
No, I did not know anything that took place in the mall.
Okay.
Other than in this individual chasing these people down the corridor.
All right. So you're in Macy's. Other people are leaving that store.
Well, as I'm approaching the individual. You know, I've at this point I got my badge out and I have my gun on him. I'm giving him commands to stop. You know, off-duty police officer. You know, get on the ground. I can see in the background people.
Right.
I can see people moving. I don't necessarily know what they're doing. I can visually see these people, and this individual that I'm dealing in the mall. Yeah. takes a left down an aisle that's basically a dead end, and I can remember one employee kind of jumping into a door and the door shutting, and I got compliance out of this individual for a few seconds. So he laid on the ground, still had the knives in his hand, but he laid on the ground, and I didn't hear, but witnesses said that he counted down 3, 2, 1, and then jumped up and then charged at me. And as he charged at me is when my first volley of shots took place, because obviously he was a threat to me and others around me with the knives in his hand.
Jason, we talk about this again all the time with in the program Tactical Tuesday. This individual is coming at you again. Situational awareness. Do you keep commanding this person? Stop, stop, stop. What does your training tell you to do?
Well, obviously, in this situation, I mean, he's charging at me. I've given him commands and asked him told him what I wanted to do. And
right.
At first he complied, but then when he came after me, obviously he's trying to kill me with the knives. And so my first set of shots, he does go down during the first volley. I'm continuously giving him commands and also announcing to the people that are still
in the store,
in the store, back there, and we've talked in training. You're going to have people that will leave, and people that'll freeze, and others that would sell tickets and popcorn because it's an event,
right?
And I don't know what the status of those people were, but I could see that they were still there, and so at one point I hold up my badge and I see somebody stand out in the aisle, kind of letting them know, hey, I'm an off-duty officer, and what's going through my mind in this is that I'm in civilian clothes engaging an individual in uniform. So the untrained individual and not understanding what is happening, that's going to mess with their mind.
In Minnesota, we're an open carry state. You're a situation, what you just talked about, plain clothes, shooting someone in a uniform. Were you concerned about someone who may have a gun on them, thinking that you're the bad guy?
Well, that wasn't really my big thing. Was when law enforcement does show up, I don't want to be looking like the bad guy.
Gotcha.
I don't want them to be confused to who I am and who he is.
Jason, we know how the story ended, except for you personally. Since then, what has happened to you and your life?
Well, honestly, things have just gone as, status quo. I mean, I'm still doing what I do. Still, a licensed police officer. Still work at Tactical Advantage.
All right. Well, let's back it up just a little bit, because you ended up hiring a PR person, right, to take care of the media attention that you knew was going to come your way.
Well, yeah,
correct?
I mean, that happened. I mean, as far as right after, there again, we talk about on Tactical Tuesday, and we have Jim Fleming coming up on September 23rd about the aftermath. Those are things that I already knew because of my training. Mm-hmm. Things that we tell people that you need to really think about if this is really what you want to do. Mm-hmm. Because you have to have a plan after the fact. And I had a plan after the fact. So that helped, obviously with stress. The media was obviously something that, we weren't necessarily prepared for, but we did have somebody that could handle that for us. Because obviously it became not only a national story, but I mean, we had people from, the BBC and the Australian Times and all sorts of places, trying to get a hold of us. But somebody else took care of that for me where I didn't have to.
Jason, let me ask you this. Too much media attention? You said you really didn't expect, the worldwide kind of thing. You're just an off-duty cop doing his job. Is that pretty much how you look at all of this?
Well, that's what I look at it. I didn't look at it, for any other standpoint. I mean, other people may have, certainly could have taken advantage of, all sorts of appearances and crazy things like that. But, I did look at it as, me just doing what I needed to do in that situation, and, let's move on from there.
Let's do one more thing here, and let's talk about the importance of training.
Obviously after the incident, a lot of people wanted to get their permits to carry because of what happened, and they worry about what's going on in today's society and whatnot. But what I always tell people is you got to do it for the right reasons. Getting that card, all it does is give you the ability to carry something that would otherwise be illegal. What I did that day doesn't come with that card. It comes with training, practice. Not only with the skills of practicing the shooting, but, your mindset, studying the psychological and the physiological things, which we talk about in our permit to carry class, and then knowing the aftermath. You got to have a plan from the beginning to end. Just putting that gun on or carrying that gun or putting it in your purse isn't going to magically happen for you in that moment. And there again, we have people that come through class, and for morally or ethically reasons, they have to pause on whether or not this is what they want to do, because it's a pretty big deal. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with it. So, people that want to get their permits to carry, do it for the right reasons, get the training, and then dedicate yourself to it, because it is a lifestyle change.
Jason, what about people who say, this guy is a hero? You say that other people might milk that for all it's worth. Your kids go to school in this community. People walking up to you, I'm sure, on the street, shaking your hand, patting you on the back, maybe out at work at Tactical Advantage. What about that stuff? I mean, every cop is a hero. Every firefighter is a hero. We know that. Every single day they train for these types of things. Every day they're heroes. Hopefully not having to apply that knowledge, that information that they have. But what are your thoughts when, people walk up to you and go, Jason Falconer, you're a hero?
Well, I don't know. I like I said, I think I was, I was trained to do something. I was there. I acted on it, obviously appropriately and within, what the law gives us. Mm-hmm. And I'd hope to believe that, another off-duty officer put in my situation would have done the same thing. I think that's realistic. Those that have had the training, that they would do that.
Jason, let's close the book on this chapter and turn the page. Does that make sense to you?
Perfect.
What happened, happened.
Yep.
That was a long time ago. It's handled. It's done. Next.
Yep. We plug away and keep going at it.
Jason, sorry, you're still a hero. Thank you for being in the right place at the right time and for doing what you do.
Yep, no problem.